Welcome to the introduction to Bhakti Yoga with Bliss Collective. This is the first video in a series dedicated to the different paths of yoga. This channel is dedicated to the formless, ineffable, divine, ultimate reality. On this channel, I will be discussing non-duality and healing, along with Bhakti Yoga. Let's begin. I wanted to begin this video with a quote from one of my favorite Upanishads, because I feel that it's very important to remember why we are doing anything at all upon this earth, why I've created this channel, and why devotion is ultimately so important, why seeking knowledge is so important, and why living within that alignment with the ultimate truth is the most important thing that we can do here in this reality for the small amount of time that we've been given and allotted. This is taken from the Svetasvatara Upanishad. This vast universe is a wheel. Upon it are all creatures that are subject to birth, death, and rebirth. Round and round it turns and never stops. It is the wheel of Brahman. As long as the individual self thinks it is separate from Brahman, it revolves upon the wheel in bondage to the laws of birth, death, and rebirth. But when through the grace of Brahman, it realizes its identity with him, it revolves upon the wheel no longer. It achieves immortality. I also wanted to include this quote by Swami Vivekananda. When a man sees God in everything and everything in God, that he attains perfect bhakti. It is then that he sees Vishnu incarnated in everything, from the microbe to Brahma. And it is then that he sees God manifesting himself in everything. It is then that he feels that there is nothing without God. And it is then and then alone that, thinking himself to be the most insignificant of all beings, he worships God with the true spirit of bhakti. So let's begin. The three prominent bhakti paths or traditions and deities. The first being Vaishnavism. This is perhaps the most well-known, common path. Vaishnavism celebrates the love and reverence for Vishnu, the preserver, and his divine incarnations, such as Krishna and Rama. In this tradition, the devotee's heart becomes a temple, and every breath a hymn and praise of the Lord. The Bhagavata Purana, Gita, and Ramayana serve as sacred texts brimming with tales of divine play, love, and heroism that draws the soul closer to the infinite. The devotee, immersed in the nectar of Krishna's name and form, becomes one with the divine play, an instrument in the hands of the Lord, moving in perfect harmony with his will. In this state of surrender, all dualities dissolve. The joys and sorrows of the world fade, and what remains is a pure, undivided love that binds the heart of the devotee to Krishna. I've included 3 separate verses from the Bhagavad Gita that are so ultimately important for Vaishnavites. I will read one. But those who worship me, giving up all their activities unto me, and being devoted to me without deviation, engaged in devotional service, and always meditating upon me, having fixed their minds upon me, O son of Prita. For them, I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. The Mula mantra for Krishna. Mula mantras invoke specific deities. Each deity has their own Mula mantra. This helps focus the mind in a meditative state on that essence, on that expression of Brahman. The mantra for Krishna is Om Klim Krishnaya Namaha. Through this mantra, the devotee is asking the Lord to accept his or her situation and send blessings. This is a beautiful mantra for surrender, and I use it daily. The next tradition and deity in Bhakti Yoga is Shaivism. Shaivism is the path of those who seek refuge in the serene and fierce presence of Shiva, the Lord of destruction and transformation. He is a silent ascetic, meditating in the Himalayan heights, his third eye closed in boundless awareness. He is also the Nataraja, the cosmic dancer, whose rhythmic dance of creation and dissolution pulsates through the universe. For the Shaiva, every moment is an act of worship, every breath a mantra. People often take pilgrimages to sacred sites like Mount Kailash. There's a sacred peak that stands at the axis of the world, and they are expressions of deep bhakti. The devotee surrendering to the divine dance becomes a part of Shiva, merging into the eternal rhythm of life and death, creation and destruction. The Mula mantra for Shiva, Om Namah Shivaya. Through this mantra, the devotee is directly surrendering to Shiva and the balance of chaos and peace he upholds. Shiva here is the supreme reality, or the inner self. So chanting this mantra is to provide and pray for the inner self. This is a beautiful mantra to balance chaos and peace. I use this mantra often when I find myself becoming too attached to the outcome of things, to worldly things, tangible things. It helps me remember the truth of reality. You'll notice Shiva has a snake coiled around his neck. The snake symbolizes how close we are to death at any moment of any day. The last that I'll touch on here is Shaktism. Shaktism is the path of those who see the entire cosmos as a play of Shakti, the Divine Mother. She is Durga, the invincible warrior who vanquishes demons of ignorance and ego. She is Kali, the fierce and compassionate destroyer of time, who wears a garland of skulls and dances upon the battlefield of illusion. To her devotees, she is not just a deity, but the very essence of existence, the primal force that births, sustains, and transforms all that is. From the fierce protector to the loving mother, Shakti is worshipped with a fervor that transcends the boundaries of the individual self. In her embrace, the soul is reborn, recognizing its own divine nature as part of the great cosmic dance. Something that I wanted to touch on. Shakti does not have a single Mula mantra because she is limitless and boundless. She manifests as countless forms and energies, some say. Lakshmi, Saraswati. We know Durga and Kali. But she manifests in every form that is feminine, that is the divine feminine. And so there's no singular overarching Mula mantra for her, which is reflective of her vast multifaceted nature. Two that stand out. Om Dam Durgaye Namaha. Om Krim Kalakaye Namaha. Durga stands to eradicate any ignorance we have to that true reality. She is a vicious protector of that true reality. So now that we have gone over the different Bhakti traditions and the deities that are worshipped within Bhakti Yoga path, how can we actually show devotion to these deities? There are a few ways. One being japa, which is chanting. You've probably seen religious people with prayer beads. This is known as mala. Silently or audibly repeating a mantra or the name of a deity. This can be done holding a mala to keep count. The next is puja, worship. Puja is a ritualistic worship that involves offering prayers, flowers, food, and incense to a deity. This can be performed in a temple or at home. Kirtan, song or dance. Kirtan involves the singing of devotional hymns and mantras, often in call and response format. You can think very clearly to Hare Krishna. Hare Krishnas frequently go out and perform kirtan on the streets of the city that is closest to them, to their temple. You will see them banging drums and tambourines. You will see them engaging with the community in this call and response fashion. Dhyana, meditation. Meditation in a tantric context involves deep contemplation on the form and the qualities of the deity that you're invoking. It can be a guided visualization or a focused practice on a particular aspect of the divine. Seva, service. Engaging in acts of service without attachment to the results is a key aspect of bhakti. We're also going to touch on that path in my following video. This can include volunteering, charity, giving back at all in any way without requesting anything in return. And lastly, pilgrimage. Participating in spiritual retreats or pilgrimages to sacred sites are integral to tantric bhakti. Nearing the end, I wanted to share this quote from the Gita. Krishna says, "If one offers me with love and devotion a leaf, a flower, a fruit, or water, I will accept it." In this verse, Krishna emphasizes the importance of the intention behind the offering, rather than the material value. What matters is the love and sincerity with which it is offered, which is true for all bhakti. I wanted to quickly say something that I've come to realize is bhakti is not anything that can be forced. It's not something that you can set an alarm for. It's not something that you can ask other people to help you remember. That is not true bhakti. Bhakti is not something that you keep count or tally on. I went here, I performed this puja 5 times last year. I'm good. No, that isn't bhakti. Bhakti comes so seamlessly, so naturally and organically. Sometimes you don't even realize that you're doing it. Bhakti is actually very similar to Seva in that through the Karma Yoga path, we do things without any expectation of being reciprocated or anything returned, any gift, reward, simply because we must. There is no other way. It's like ecstatic dance through the soul. It's like air. It's like breathing air. It just is and must be. And that love comes so naturally when one recognizes the ultimate reality and the divinity within all beings. I hope that this video has illumined the path of Bhakti Yoga. I hope that this video has been very informative. As I stated, I will continue these videos, if none other, for a handful of people. If it touches one, that is good enough. Om Tat Sat. Om Shakti 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 Om. Be well.